Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of the Tarot Deep Dive. And this time we are getting into the star. I actually wasn't really planning to get into this one, mainly due to the fact that we've been doing it for a while, and I thought I'd do another video, but then stars just kept showing up, man. So I thought I better actually get into it. So, the star, the daughter of the firmament, the dweller between the waters. Hope, unexpected health, clearness of vision, realization of possibility, spiritual insight with bad aspects, error of judgment, dreaminess, disappointment. So obviously that's the two sides of it. Like every single one of them, like every card has different kinds of shadowy aspects, and this one's disappointment and error of judgment and dreaminess. So we got to be careful every time. Everything casts a shadow. A bit like how, I was just thinking today, like the pig zodiac. The pigs generally, or swine, they can be associated with like fortitude, wealth, and fortune, and hardiness. And in other cultures, which is the shadow side of it, gluttony, lust, filth, disease, and all other kinds of nasty things, right? So there's always the shadow to everything. All right, now let's get into the beginning. This card is attributed to the letter Hey. As has been explained elsewhere, it refers to the zodiacal sign of Aquarius, the water bearer. The picture represents Nuit or Our Lady of the Stars. For the full meaning of this sentence, it is necessary to understand the first chapter of the Book of the Law. Yeah, that's actually a very important part, I guess, because it's usually talking about Nuit, and it's about leaping joy and laughter in ecstasy and all that other kind of thing in existence, and that's how it should be. So yeah, the first chapter of the Book of the Law. It is a great read. Maybe you can stomach the third chapter because that one becomes a bit wary and a bit disconcerting for some people. The figure of the goddess is shown in manifestation. That is not as the surrounding space of heaven shown in R220. So, okay. So we were just talking about the tower yesterday. Last week. And it was the same sort of thing. They were talking about the Aeon. So there's obviously this persistent theme of fire here. Where she is the pure philosophical idea, continuous and omniform. In this card, she is defined, personified as a human-seeming figure. She is represented as bearing two cups, one golden, held high above her head, from which she pours water upon it. These cups resemble breasts, as it is written, the milk of the stars from her pups. Yeah, the milk of the stars from her pups. The word pups, man. Yes, my pups. Yes, my pups. Bit immature, but, I thought we'll have a bit of way bringing some light into this. Okay, so yeah, with golden held high above her head. So basically that's like consciousness. That's why it's gold. And it's a water almost, in a sense. Because if Keter's in Malkut, Malkut's in Keter, but after another fashion, in some way, the light is watery because the hexagram is basically fire and water merged together. So you can think about that. Universe here is resolved in its ultimate elements. One is tempted to quote from the vision of the lake Pascani. Nothingness with twinkles, but what twinkles? Behind the figure of the goddess, sorry, that's the washing machine, guys. Behind the figure of the goddess, most prominent among its features is the seven-pointed star of Venus. If declaring the principal characteristics of her nature is to be love. See again the description in chapter 1 of the Book of the Law. Yeah, so love is the law, love and the will, do what thou wilt. And that is basically the main principle, love. And it's unfortunate because we still have this very profane view of love, right? We think it's just about copulation and fucking and all that other kind of stuff, which is which is a bit sad when you think about it. Love is doing stuff because like doing stuff out of love of humanity, love for science, love for that kind of stuff, like doing things for love. Because unfortunately, I find the biggest problem is we say, "Oh, I'm doing it because it's interesting." Ugh. Interesting. It's interesting, is it? You know what else is interesting? Your complete lack of fucking passion towards anything, right? So like if you say, I actually always try to keep that in mind. If I say, "Oh, I find this interesting," it's a bit I actually try to be very careful whether I actually want it to be into it or not. But like if I love something, it's a bit different. Like I love science. I love nature and all that other kind of thing. Because you don't go up to a woman and then say, "Oh yes, I want to be with you, babe," and be like, "And because I think you're interesting." Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, from the golden cup she pours this ethereal water, which is also milk and oil and blood, upon her own head, indicating the eternal renewal of the categories, the inexhaustible possibilities of existence. So I think that's just basically the alchemical prima of like Negrito, Albedo, Rubedo, right? And I was just thinking about this today because you know how I was talking about I can't remember which one now. I think it was in the art card. The moon, in of itself, is an alchemical allegory when it's a blood moon because it's reflecting off the earth and it's negrito, and then there's white, the moon, silver, albedo, and then with light and consciousness, it creates rubedo. And if you look at cinnabar, which is mercury sulfide, that's where basically most of the mercury in the world comes from. It comes from an ore. It's basically, yeah, shit, and light, and then also albedo. So albedo, negrito, rubedo, and cinnabar actually has a red color. So think about that for a second too. It's like this stuff is everywhere in nature. You just got to open up your eyes, man. The left-hand lord holds a silver cup from which she pours the immortal liquor of her life. The liquor is the amrita of the Indian philosophers. Got some liquor here. It's really nice. It's port. It's awesome. Delicious stuff, man. The Nephian and Ambrosia agrees. The alchemist and the universal medicine of the alchemist, the blood of the grail, or rather the nectar which is the mother of that blood. She pours it upon the junction of land and water. This water is the water of the great sea of Bina. Let's just be very careful. Like, there's nothing literal. So ambrosia and the philosopher's stone, and the Graal, that's just referring to understanding and the alchemical process of one's own being, right? So for Indians, it's Amrita. Ambrosia, it's for the Greeks. And the alkahest and universal medicine of the alchemist, blood of the Graal, it's alchemy once again. How many times have we just gone through the same thing of alchemy, man, through this whole series? Because that really is the whole point. And I was watching Manly P. Hall, and he basically said that Earth is just an alchemical bottle, really, of experimentation and trying and all other kinds of things. All right, let's go. She pours it upon the junction of land and water. This water is the water of great sea of Bina in the manifestation of Nuth on the lower plane. She is the great mother. For the great sea is upon the shore of the fertile earth, as represented by the roses in the right-hand corner of the picture. Oh. Interesting. I didn't see that. But between sea and land is the abyss. And this is hidden by the clouds, which well as development of her hair. My hair's the tree of eternity. But yeah, so the abyss is actually a bit of an airy sort of Actually, you know what? Let's look up something. Let's go to etymology of abyss. Depth, bottomless, without busa. So yeah, the deep place, without bottom. So the abyss is endless, guys. There you go. You can't fucking get through it. So I guess when you cross the abyss, you're falling forever. And maybe you never reach the city of the pyramids. But the thing is, I think you're supposed to delight in the abyss. I don't think, because really, that's the whole point of it. It's an experience. So, gaping void, empty, immeasurable space. So yeah, same thing. Well, do you want to cross the abyss, guys? I'll leave that up to you. In the left-hand corner of the picture is the Star of Babylon. Wait, the seven-pointed Star of Venus. Oh, there's a few of them. Okay. In the left-hand corner of the picture is the Star of Babylon, the sigil of the brother of the AA. For Babylon is yet a further materialization of the original idea of Nuith. She is the Scarlet Woman, the sacred harlot, who is the lady of R211. So we're sort of going back to the lust card here. From this star, behind the celestial sphere itself, issued the curl rays of spiritual light. Heaven itself is no more than a veil before the face of the immortal goddess. It will be seen that every form of energy in this picture is spiral. Zoroaster says, God is he having the head of a hawk, having a spiral force. And I think that just goes to the Fibonacci sequence, right? It's a spiral. Riding on a spiral. That Tool song, Lateralis. It's a great song, guys. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend it. It is interesting to notice that this oracle appears to anticipate the present aeon, that of the hawk-headed lord, and also the mathematical conception of the shape of the universe as calculated by Einstein and his school. It is only the lower couple of the forms of energy issuing forth show reticular characteristics. In this may be discovered the doctrine which asserts that the blindness of humanity to all the beauty and wonder of the universe is due to this illusion of straightness. It's interesting because I don't think, the universe itself is not a straight line, because it's a sinusoidal wave, it's a snake, it's a serpent. There's no straight lines in nature when you think about it. And the idea of a straight line is possible. That just sort of made me think about something, actually, when you think about it. If there's no straight lines in nature, then that simply means we're not straight at any point in our lives. And I don't mean in just the sexual sense. I mean, like, we fail, we sin, we are in iniquity. There's failure all the time. There's sin all the time. Because that is nature. So is that the blindness of humanity in the illusion of straightness? Wait, did I do that? Shape of the universe, I'll just go back here. It is only in the lower cup of the forms of energy issuing forth show rectilinear characteristics. In this, it may be discovered the doctrine which asserts that the blindness of humanity to all the beauty and wonder of the universe is due to this illusion of straightness. It is significant that Riemann, Bolyai, and Lobachevsky seem to have been the mathematical prophets of the new revelation, for the Euclidean geometry depends upon this conception of straight lines. And it was only because The parallel postulate was found to be incapable of proof that mathematicians began to conceive that the straight line had no true correspondence with reality. A straight line is no more than the limit of any curve. For instance, it is an ellipse whose foci are an infinite distance apart. In fact, such use of the calculus is the one certain way of ensuring straightness. Okay, so that's a very interesting thing. If you consider the fact that the Riemann's hypothesis, as far as I know, it's some kind of geometrical loop, and it's never returned to its original position, no matter how often you have gone in circles, it just doesn't meet. And it's possible. The reason why it'll never meet is because there's not a straight line. There's not a straight line in the universe. And that this straightness is a little bit illusory. And the only reason that straight lines appear in calculus is because of how far you're zooming in. Straightness doesn't exist. We're all bendy. We're all flexible and bendy. All right. Okay, in the first chapter of the Book of the Law, the conclusion is of practical importance. It gives the definite formula for the attainment of truth. And this is going to be probably quite important. I give unimaginable joys on earth, certainty, not faith, while in life upon death, peace unutterable, rest, ecstasy, nor do I demand aught in sacrifice. And the part, yes, certainty, not faith. And that's actually been me my whole life, man. I've always wanted to be certain about literally everything. Of course, we can never be certain about everything, but there's certain levels of certainty that you can find when you observe nature, and if you can plug into that, that means if you can observe nature and you're a scientist and there's certain ways of going about it, there's certain laws that you can see that govern the universe, and they're unbreakable, they're unchangeable. That is truth. And when you have that level of certainty about how the universe actually works, a certain level of certainty, you can have no fear, essentially. So like when your cup is overflowing, essentially. So yeah, nor do I demand aught in sacrifice, and certainty, not faith. Those are very important, because blood magic is a little bit retarded. But to love me is better than all things. If under the night stars in the desert thou presently burnest mine incense before me, invoke me with a pure heart, and the serpent flame therein, thou shalt come with a little lie in my bosom. For one kiss wilt thou then be willing to give all, but whose gives one particle of dust shall lose all in that hour. Ye shall gather goods and store of women and spices. Ye shall wear rich jewels. Ye shall exceed the nations of the earth in splendor and pride, but always in love of me, and so shall ye come to my joy. I charge you earnestly to come before me in a single robe and covered with a rich headdress. I love you, I yearn to you, pale or purple, veiled or voluptuous. I am whom am all pleasure and purple, and drunkenness of the innermost sense. Desire you, put on the wings and arouse the coiled splendor within you. Come unto me. Purple is a pretty poignant color here because ultraviolet light is basically light that you can't see on certain levels of the light scale, right? There's certain light is invisible to us. That's what radio waves are. It's light that we can't actually see, but it's there, but we can't see it. And it's actually a deeper purple. It just gets deeper and deeper, and that's why purple is sort of usually attributed to royalty, in particular, right? And that's why red is passion, because it's a lower impulse. So yeah, I am who all pleasure in purple. So maybe pleasure is purple and not red. At all my meetings, you shall, the priestess say, and her eye shall burn with a desire as she stands banned, rejoicing in my secret temple. To me, call forth the flames of the heart of all in her love chant. Sing the rapturous love song unto me. Burn me perfumes, wear to me jewels, drink to me, for I love you, I love you. I am the blue-lidded daughter of the sunset. I am the naked brilliance of the voluptuous night sky. To me, the manifestation of Nuit as an end. So yeah, that's basically the end. It's basically looking at the reflection of the feminine, right, and all this stuff in regards to like joy. And since women are the moon, like my joy is to see your joy, and if you're clearly unhappy, women will go, ooh, what the fuck, that kind of thing, right? And I think that's an important thing to think about. So, everyone, let's get to all right. Complete. But we're not supposed to be doing that quite yet. All right. Where are you? There we go. So we're now going into Lon Milo Duquette's take on everything. Pour water on thyself. Thou shalt be a fountain of to the universe. Find thou thyself in every star. Achieve thou every possibility. Pouring water on yourself. So there's something to do with that, I guess. I think looking at the finished cards, you will remember all the sequences you have forgotten, and I shall be crushed by alterations which will confuse the structural design and any spectator without your knowledge, and so suffer little children to come unto thee and confuse them not too much symbolism and stay the hand for poor Frida's tormented visions. Harrison Crowley, date uncertain. I don't know. I don't understand that part. I can't really say that much about that. Drawing from imagery found in the first chapter of the Book of the Law, the star is one of the most intensely thelemic cards in the deck. To truly appreciate its secrets, one must be familiar with the content of that chapter and cognizance of its possible meanings. The central subject is Nuith herself. Here, she is not pictured as an infinite arch of the night sky as we see her on the Silly or R220, the Aeon, but tangibly personified as a beautiful goddess. Beauty and wonder, and women are curvy, and also like an O. There's no curve in an O in a vaginal sense. Yeah, I'll continue. The 3 7-pointed stars that populate this card are versions of the star Babylon and reveal to us, if we haven't already figured it out, that Nuith and Babylon are to Crowley 2 aspects of the same goddess. Okay, so one might be like the harlot in the last card, and I guess like to a certain extent it means Sophia. Maybe that's the way he's thinking about it. He tells us, is yet a further materialization of the original idea of Nuith. She is the Scarlet Woman, the sacred harlot who is the lady of R211. There you go. He also refers to the 7-pointed star as the Star of Venus, as if declaring the principal characterizer of her nature to be love. The abode of Babylon, Nuith on the Tree of Life, is the third Sephira. Bina. The supernal soother. In the great name, Yod-He Vav-He, the mother is the first He. It makes perfect sense to attribute He to this trump, which represents the subliminal image of the goddess of infinite space. So, yeah, that makes sense. It's the feminist Yod-He, the mother, and Vav, the prince, and then He, the daughter. The Harris star is very faithful to the original description. See above. She even includes the rose and butterflies, see in the lower right corner, that are absent in most more traditional decks. The river, which is a bit hard to see, flows at the bottom of the card and is demarcated by hills on the distant shore. Oh, yeah, you're right. So, you know how I was talking about, like, there's the pyramids right there. There's the pyramids. See that? You know, I was talking about the city of the pyramids, and then there's the river. So basically, between land and water, and the crossing of the abyss. Think about that. Perhaps the most exciting departure from the traditional versions of the star is the huge celestial globe that dominates the card. This globe is often mistakenly identified as the Earth. If it were the Earth, it would dramatically diminish the spiritual and cosmic scale of this card. I guess so. The celestial globe represents the entire heaven surrounding the Earth. Therefore, all other images on this card that are placed outside the celestial sphere must represent spiritual environments that transcend even the concept of infinite space. The largest and smallest of the three stars are found outside the celestial sphere. The former spins counterclockwise like a cosmic pinwheel in the upper left corner of the card. The latter tumbles clockwise like a tiny star seed from the golden bowl in the goddess's right hand. The third star whirls counterclockwise on the celestial sphere itself. The two cups in her hand, Crowley writes, are fashioned as breasts. As it were written, the milk of the stars from her pups, yeah, the milk of a star of her pups. From the golden cup, he continues, she pours the ethereal water, which is also milk and oil and blood, upon her own head, indicating the eternal renewal of categories, the inexhaustible possibilities of existence. So I knew it's sort of infinite and endless. Crowley completes the description thus. The left hand lowered holds a silver cup from which is all she pours the immortal liquor of life. The liquor, universal medicine of alchemists and the grail, or the father of nectar, which is the mother of that blood. Traditionally, the star is the card of hope, the promise of things unseen. What is the hope that Nuit offers to us? What is the promise of our star goddess? I wish I could simply reprint the entire first chapter of the Book of Law and show you, but this short excerpt might give you some idea. I give unimaginable joys on earth, certainty not faith, while in life upon death, peace unutterable, rest, ecstasy, nor do I man aught in sacrifice. I actually want to talk about that upon death, peace unutterable. There are, if you've ever played Shin Megami Tensei before, the fifth one, brilliant game by the way. It's like very relegated to the occult and mysteries, and like there's all kinds of demons from different cultures. And in one of them, one of the avatars of death, you fight Mother Harlot. And she said something along the lines of the greatest pleasure is actually death, which would mean that life is the greatest suffering. But you can have unimaginable joys in somehow in suffering, I guess. So there's always that, and nor do I demand aught in sacrifice. So you don't have to sort of put yourself up and that kind of thing. Anyway, that will bring us to the end. Which means the next one will be the moon. And that will be very interesting. And we're getting close to the end. After that, after the moon, it will just be the sun, the aeon, and the universe. And then we're done for the major trumps. And then we would get into the minor arcana, which will certainly be very interesting. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe to my Substack. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you next time.